Mother Teresa, the unstoppable power of small acts. The call to serve and the journey to Calcutta. The girl who would become the mother. Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new, deeply inspiring series. Today, we begin the extraordinary story of Mother Teresa, the woman who became a global symbol of compassion, kindness, and unwavering service. Her life is a powerful lesson in making the greatest impact by committing to these small things with great love. This is a story of resilience, faith, and finding your true purpose. Our story begins far from the bustling streets of India, in Skopje, a city then part of the Ottoman Empire, now North Macedonia. Agnes Gongsabojaksiu was born on August 26, 1910, into an Albanian family. Her father was a successful merchant, and her family was devoutly Catholic. From a young age, Agnes was exposed to the importance of charity and service. Her mother was a huge influence, often inviting the poor and elderly of the neighborhood to dine with the family. This early exposure instilled in Agnes a natural inclination toward helping others, shaping her moral compass toward empathy and action. The spark of vocation. Agnes was an intelligent and sensitive child. By the age of 12, she felt a powerful calling to religious life. Her interest was particularly drawn to missions in India, inspired by the stories of Jesuit priests working in that distant land. She began to feel an intense desire to dedicate her life to serving God through helping the most marginalized people. This calling was not a fleeting thought. It was a deep, persistent conviction that grew stronger throughout her teenage years. This initial decision is a motivational moment for all of us. It shows the courage it takes to listen to a powerful inner voice, even when it demands a difficult path. At the age of 18, in 1928, Agnes made a momentous decision. She left her home and family to join the Sisters of Loreto, an Irish order of nuns known for their missionary work and dedication to education in India. She traveled first to the Loreto Abbey in Dublin, Ireland, to learn English, the language of instruction for the order in India. The defining call, the call within the call. Then, in 1946, everything changed. While traveling by train from Calcutta to Darjeeling for her annual retreat, Sister Teresa experienced what she later described as the call within the call. This was a powerful, undeniable moment of divine instruction. She felt a direct command from God to leave the comfort and security of the convent school and go out into the slums to serve the poorest and sickest people, those whom no one else would touch. The message was clear. She was to dedicate herself entirely to the service of the destitute, living among them and sharing their lives. This was not an easy decision. It meant giving up her teaching post, her habit, her security, and stepping into the raw, brutal reality of the city's slums. Yet, for Teresa, the call was absolute. She knew she had to obey. This decision, to trade safety for service, is perhaps the most motivational turning point of her life. It shows the incredible courage required to follow a mission that demands radical change and self-sacrifice. Over the next 2 years, Sister Teresa sought permission from her superiors and the Vatican to start her new mission. It was a long, bureaucratic struggle, but her determination was unshakable. Finally, in 1948, she received permission. She took off the Loreto habit, put on a simple white sari with 3 blue stripes, the traditional dress of the poorest Indian women, and walked out of the convent gates, stepping into the unknown streets of Calcutta to begin her life's true work. This concludes part 1 of Mother Teresa's journey. Her decision to leave comfort for the call of the poor is a powerful example of motivation and faith in action. Part 2. The birth of a mission and the vows of service. Stepping into the unknown. Welcome back to part 2 of the powerful motivational story of Mother Teresa. In part 1, we witnessed the profound call within the call that compelled her to leave the comfort of the convent and dedicate herself to the poorest of the poor. Now, we see her put that radical commitment into action. In 1948, having exchanged the Loreto habit for the simple white and blue-striped sari, Teresa stepped out into the crushing reality of Calcutta's slums. This was not a quick visit. This was her new life. For a European woman who had lived a sheltered life within a religious order, the change was shocking, challenging, and profoundly lonely. She had no resources, no income, and no place to live, only her faith and her mission. She began by serving the sick and dying in the streets, often cleaning wounds that others refused to touch. She used the simplest tools and her most effective remedy, love and dignity. Her initial experiences were harrowing. She had to learn basic nursing skills, navigate the bureaucracy of the city, and beg for food and medicine. She was often met with suspicion and loneliness, struggling with the immense psychological toll of confronting misery daily. She later described those early days as filled with temptation to return to the security of the convent, but her conviction held firm. The first school. Teresa understood that true transformation required more than just treating immediate sickness. It required empowerment. Her first major act was to start a makeshift, open-air school in the heart of the slum. She gathered a few children from the streets, taught them basic literacy, and told them stories. She wrote letters in the sand, using a stick as her only teaching aid. This simple, spontaneous act represented a revolutionary approach, providing education and hope where despair was the norm. Word of the quiet, determined little mother spread through the slums. Her selflessness began to attract a handful of young women, many of them her former students from St. Mary's, who were inspired to join her work. They were drawn not by her wealth, for she had none, but by the extraordinary love and peace they saw in her commitment. The founding of the Missionaries of Charity. This small but dedicated group was the seed of something monumental. In 1950, after 2 years of relentless street work, the Missionaries of Charity was formally established as a religious congregation under the Archdiocese of Calcutta. Mother Teresa made her core vows and those of her sisters intentionally challenging, adding a fourth vow unique to the order, to give wholehearted free service to the poorest of the poor. This vow meant they would serve those who were not just poor in possessions, but poor in spirit, dignity, and care: the hungry, the naked, the homeless, the crippled, the blind, the lepers, and all those who felt unwanted, unloved, and uncared for. The establishment of the order provided a formal structure, allowing them to raise funds and expand their services legally. Their uniform, the simple white and blue-striped sari, became an international symbol of peace and tireless service. The home for the dying. As the sisters grew in number, they expanded their work. One of Mother Teresa's most crucial and heartbreaking initiatives was the opening of the Nirmal Hriday, Pure Heart, the home for the dying destitutes, in 1952. Mother Teresa was devastated by the sight of people dying alone, often on the streets, without comfort or recognition of their humanity. She secured a dilapidated temple building from the city government and transformed it into a place where the sick and dying could be brought in from the streets to spend their final hours with dignity, cleanliness, and love. The motivation behind Nirmal Hriday was not necessarily to save lives, but to ensure a beautiful death, a death where the person knew they were loved. This bold initiative confronted the hardest truths of poverty and provided a lesson in profound compassion. Every life has value until its very last breath. This period of Mother Teresa's life is intensely motivational because it demonstrates that the greatest achievements often start with immense personal sacrifice and a few small, determined steps. She proved that one person with unshakable conviction can create a force of nature that changes the world. Part 3. Challenges, global expansion, and the power of small things. The mission crosses borders. Welcome back to Part 3 of our motivational journey through the life of Mother Teresa. In the previous segments, we saw her leave the security of the convent and establish the foundation of the Missionaries of Charity in the slums of Calcutta. Now, we witness how her profound work, rooted in humility, began to spread across India and then the entire globe. By the late 1950s and 1960s, the order was growing rapidly. More young women, inspired by Mother Teresa's radical poverty and intense focus on service, joined the Sisters and later the Brothers of Charity. The success of her model in Calcutta, providing care, dignity, and education, meant the demand for her work expanded beyond Bengal. The Sisters began opening new homes, centers for people with leprosy, and children's homes in other major cities across India. This period of expansion brought new and complex challenges: logistical nightmares, language barriers across different Indian states, and the constant need for resources. Mother Teresa's leadership during this time was defined by her simple faith: God provides. She taught her sisters to rely on providence, believing that if the work was necessary, the resources would always appear. Taking the light to the world. In 1965, the Missionaries of Charity officially became an international religious congregation. This was the moment the little mother and her sari-clad sisters began to travel the world, taking their specific brand of compassionate care to places where poverty and despair were just as harsh, such as Venezuela, Rome, and eventually dozens of countries across Asia, Africa, and the West. This global expansion was her response to what she called the universal call to serve. She recognized that suffering was not unique to India. It existed everywhere, whether in the physical hunger of Africa or the spiritual poverty and loneliness found in wealthy Western cities. Confronting the critics. As Mother Teresa became famous, she also became controversial. Her high visibility meant she faced intense public scrutiny and criticism, a powerful lesson in perseverance for anyone pursuing a major goal. Critics often questioned her methods, the management of funds, and her conservative views on certain social issues. They argued about the efficiency of her homes or the political implications of her work. How did Mother Teresa respond to this constant pressure? 1. Focus on the mission. She rarely engaged in public debates with her critics. Her defense was always her work itself. She taught her sisters to focus only on the suffering person in front of them, using her favorite phrase, "We are not social workers. We are contemplatives in the heart of the world." 2. Humility and action. She believed that the best response to criticism was to work harder. Her motivational message was clear: while others talk and argue, we must act. She viewed her work as a constant, tangible proof of her intentions. This teaches us that perseverance means keeping your eyes on your goal, regardless of the noise around you. The power of small things with great love. During this time of growth and challenge, Mother Teresa consolidated her central philosophy into a single, powerful, and deeply motivational message. Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. This teaching revolutionized how people thought about charity. It made service accessible to everyone. You didn't need to be a doctor or a politician. You just needed to treat the person next to you with kindness. This philosophy became the driving force behind her immense global impact. She taught that true charity begins with simple acts of giving and that every soul matters immensely. The 1970s marked the transformation of Mother Teresa from a dedicated nun to a truly global voice for the poor, a voice the world could no longer ignore. The source of strength. For someone who endured the physical exhaustion of managing a global organization, Mother Teresa's energy seemed limitless. The secret to her perseverance was rooted in her daily routine, a commitment to long hours of prayer and contemplation every morning. She maintained that without this spiritual nourishment, the work would become overwhelming and the compassion would eventually run dry. Her life teaches us a crucial lesson in motivation. To constantly refill your own cup, you must dedicate time to what sustains your inner self. Her ability to manage an exploding global institution while maintaining a life of intense prayer is a motivational paradox that defined her leadership. An enduring symbol. By the end of this phase of her life, Mother Teresa had become an undisputed symbol of service and sacrifice. Whether people agreed with her religious or political views, her life served as a powerful reminder that love in action is the most potent force for change in the world. She proved that one tiny woman, starting with nothing but a conviction and a simple sorry, could build a global empire of kindness. This ultimate motivational achievement sets the stage for the final part of her story, the ultimate global honor and the lasting legacy of her name. Part 5. The global icon and her enduring legacy. The world takes notice. Welcome back to the concluding chapter of our deeply moving series on Mother Teresa, the Saint of the Gutters. In our previous parts, we followed her journey from a young Albanian nun to the founder of a revolutionary mission in the slums of Calcutta. In this final segment, we witness her global recognition and the enduring, motivational legacy she left behind. By the 1970s, Mother Teresa was no longer just a local figure in Calcutta. She was a global phenomenon. Her unwavering commitment to the poorest of the poor captured the imagination and conscience of the entire world. The media spotlight, which she neither sought nor shunned, brought her work and the plight of the destitute to international attention. This global exposure led to numerous awards, which she consistently accepted on behalf of the poor she served. For her, these awards were simply a means to an end, a way to raise funds and awareness so her work could continue to grow. The Nobel Peace Prize, 1979. The pinnacle of her international recognition came in 1979 when she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. When she received the prestigious award, her actions were as humbling as her philosophy. She famously requested that the traditional Nobel acceptance banquet be canceled, asking that the $192,000 prize money be instead given directly to the poor in India, stating, "I believe this prize is being given to us because of the work we are doing for the poor." During her Nobel lecture, she delivered one of her most powerful and motivational messages. She declared that the greatest poverty in the world was not material poverty, but loneliness and the feeling of being unloved. She urged everyone to find their own Calcutta wherever they lived and to start their work of kindness at home, beginning with their own families. She famously stated, "If you judge people, you have no time to love them." Global expansion in the face of service. With the Nobel Prize and countless other accolades, the Missionaries of Charity expanded rapidly. By the 1990s, her organization had grown from a handful of nuns in one city to thousands of sisters and brothers operating hundreds of homes in dozens of countries across the world, addressing poverty, AIDS, leprosy, and homelessness. Mother Teresa's image became synonymous with selfless service. She traveled constantly, meeting world leaders, celebrities, and the most marginalized individuals, always using her voice to advocate for the forgotten. Her mission was simple. Every human being, regardless of their condition, deserves to be treated with dignity and love. Despite the immense scale of her global operation, she never changed her personal lifestyle. She continued to wear the simple, blue and white cotton sari and live a life of poverty, insisting that to truly serve the poor, one must live among them. Final years and spiritual crisis. As Mother Teresa aged, her health began to fail, but her spirit remained unbent. She faced numerous health scares, yet her commitment to the Missionaries of Charity never wavered. She continued to lead, guide, and inspire her sisters through her final years. Interestingly, and perhaps most motivationally, the release of her private writings after her death revealed a profound secret. For much of her life, Mother Teresa had experienced periods of intense spiritual darkness, feeling the absence of God. This revelation added another layer of depth to her story. It showed that her legendary faith was not effortless. It was a constant, courageous choice made day after day, year after year, even in the absence of comfort or feeling. This makes her perseverance even more human and inspiring. Her enduring legacy. Mother Teresa passed away on September 5, 1997, at the age of 87, shortly after the death of her close contemporary, Princess Diana. The world mourned the loss of a true icon of compassion. She was given a state funeral by the government of India, a rare honor that spoke volumes about her impact on the nation. In 2016, she was officially canonized as Saint Teresa of Calcutta by the Catholic Church. Her legacy is not just the thousands of homes and clinics her organization built. It is the philosophy of doing small things with great love. Her motivational story teaches us the power of simple actions, that true heroism is found in daily kindness, and that no act of service is too small. Her life is the ultimate lesson in perseverance, humility, and the unstoppable force of love against the world's greatest injustices. Her mission continues today, serving as a beacon of hope and a profound reminder that we all have the power to alleviate the suffering around us. This concludes the Mother Teresa Motivational Series. Subscribe now to continue your journey of learning English through powerful, inspirational stories like this one.